Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wanted to do an update on 3D model progress. I took a couple videos. Let's start with the pictures first. So, I took a couple shots off my camera, which helped out a little bit. The parts are coming out a little better, a little rough. I got to figure out, I got to get a little bit better of a cleaning setup for my 3D parts. The detail's not too bad. Having kind of some kind of straggler lines. I got a little bit of chemical that's not so, I don't know. Like I said, I need to get my cleaning stuff set up a little bit better. Okay, so let's So this is this morning where I had the parts in the machine. This was about a 30-hour print. So I made the resolution a lot finer. So this is where I'm taking this out. I'm going to start using my Apple phone, I think, because I don't know why I don't have no sound on the camera. I should have sound, but I don't have sound on the camera. So this is after 30 hours, and I'm definitely thinking about setting up like an ultrasonic cleaner, and I need to get some bigger fine brushes. So the only really fine brush I have is really small, and I have a bigger cleaner container. What I've done is I've been using E85 to clean this parts instead of denatured alcohol or IPA, because they're $20 to $30 a gallon. Okay, let's get out of that one. So I brought this outside, and I didn't show my face, but I'm actually wearing a respirator. I'm wearing the kind of respirator you use when you do auto body and paint cars with the charcoal filters and stuff. So I'm not wearing a little flimsy mask. And denatured alcohol is pretty strong. IPA's not quite as fumy, but it's a lot more expensive. But this is actually E85. It's 85% alcohol and 15% gasoline. And we were a little bit concerned that the gasoline might damage the parts and stuff, but it seems to work just fine. It's a lot cheaper than the other two. The one thing about this, though, too, like I said, I brought it outside, which is kind of nice, except for it just snowed the other day and it's pretty chilly. So I had plastic, like the uncured plastic that was on the bed. It seems like the cold just kind of solidified it. It didn't solidify it like when you cure it. It didn't cure it, but it's so viscous that it like froze it up. So I had to scrape a lot of film off of this plate and stuff like that. And this brush I'm using here, I need to get some bigger brushes like this, except for this is like a horsehair brush, and it's a really cheap, made in China brush. Which, I mean, I'm not saying it's bad because it's made in China. It's just it's a very rough paintbrush. I need to get a much finer brush. But also, like I said, I'm thinking about setting me up a really big ultrasonic cleaner so that I could set the whole plate. I could immerse this whole plate with the parts inside of the cleaner, and or I also need to make like I've thought about making a stand with a bolt So I could unbolt this from the machine, and then I could bolt this over the vats, and then that way the holder would hold this while I get the pieces loose, knock the parts off of the plate, and then I actually could have a place to put in the set. Like kind of like a separate cleaner for the plate and the parts, or even if it's the same, I'm gonna go bigger. This is actually pretty good size. Other than I could actually print taller, but not by a lot. This is actually a pretty tall print, and I printed all four parts of this ship, the main hull and the main pylons, and I went ahead and added the middle engine sections. And this is, you can't see it here, but the wings are actually hollow. This is a 4K camera. It's really funny to me how grainy, because of the sunlight or whatever is, it's making these edges so grainy. One of the important things is here, which you kind of can't see it, and I forgot my hammer. I had to run back in and get my hammer. And I'm out in the sunlight, and the sun is actually pretty bright, even though it's chilly. It was about 35-40 degrees. It's not so cold that I'm freezing and the wind ain't blowing, but it's still pretty cold. And see, I'm sloshing that around there on those parts I got off, and then this part came on hot. Now, as you see, what I was trying to get at, you want to, if you're going to use the metal, this is actually one of the first times I've used metal on this thing. The plastic scrapers has almost always took these parts off. So it's another thing. I'm going to definitely have to control the temperature better. Even if I'm in sunshine, I'm going to need to build almost like a greenhouse room or something, because I think the temperature made it to where these came off a lot harder, and it definitely made the cleaning of the build plate was way worse. See, I've already showed the pictures, so I'm not going to go through the pictures again. This is another video from the camera that I did without the sound, so that I wanted to kind of show the parts. And then the video you seen a little bit earlier was from my Apple. I guess it's a Knife 13. I think it's a Knife 13 Apple phone. This funnel, these parts I'm actually setting out here in the sunshine, and I'm showing the interior, and these came out pretty good. There's still a few little flaws here and there, but for the most part, this really printed really nice. This printed good enough to where I could glue these two halves together and sand it and putty it and that kind of stuff. And same with these. The little edges, I need to cut them out further. I think I kind of chipped a little bit out of one of the leading edges of the engine front, but it's easily puttyable and fixable once I sand and paint and whatnot. And one of the next things I want to do is get a hold of I got printers. I need to get some decal paper and start experimenting with. I'll see if I can make the decals for the bird for the bottom of this. Yeah, and I got these lines. I'm not sure if that's coming out of the program, because they're like in the same place, or if I might have bumped the machine. I think I bumped the wall by the machine, because all you really need your printers in a stable place, because all you got to do, if you bump and slosh, it could definitely put in those kind of like those heavy lines in that area. But this is the best print I've had so far, because this is about print number 8 on some of these pieces. And I was really thinking about maybe trying to design this to go the top and bottom instead of two sides. One thing I think is neat, though, I was going to take the first side that kind of came out and put the half together and mount it on a plaque, where you could mount it on a wall where you had half of a ship sticking out of the wall. I think that might be a neat model. The funnel, what I was starting to say about the funnel. I'm not curing the funnel. I actually drained a little bit of the last gray. I drained it back into a bottle with a special funnel we made. It's kind of funny. Now, this is off my iPhone, and it actually does have sound, but I think I would have to play it different to get the sound. I could probably load it directly up behind this But about all I did was just mention some little things about the ship. So, like I said, I don't want to drag this out really long. But yeah, this is one of the best print, one of the better. This is by far the best print I've had so far. And I wanted to make this to show Jerry because I'm getting down to the wire now. I'm starting to get some stuff. I get the rest of the parts made up for this, which I just have to adjust some because I've already printed them. I showed it on the other video. But I get all of these parts and pieces as nice as I can get them and clean them as good as I can get them and get the STL files right. And I'll be ready to mail one up for him to do a model review and or if he can play around and build it, which I plan on doing that also. But I got 3 or 4 guys on YouTube that I think I could send this model to. Jerry's channel. Let's see. Let's go here. Let's jump on YouTube right quick. Right here, Jerry Bourget, I think is how you pronounce his name. We'll pop this on right quick. Trek Fan NCC 1701. And this is actually, let's mute this right quick. This is actually, I think this is a 1/650 scale model that he built and painted, and this is one of his earlier works and stuff. But yes, some kind of good graphics, and he's playing around and makes his video. Anyways, I'm kind of aiming this video towards you, Jerry, because I wanted you to check it out, but I wanted you to see the progress I've made too. So let's go out of that. And anyways, I'm done with this, so I can X this out. That's about all I have for now. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving, and thanks for watching. And I'll get some more little parts and pieces out and set up my area so I can build. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the lights in this one yet or not. I have a friend, a really good friend. Like I'm not dumb about it, but this guy's actually an electrician, not an electrician, but he's worked with electronics and stuff like that. And I think he could run the LEDs in there really easy. And so I'll see about getting him. I at least want to light up the engine caps and the engine exhaust, and then but I don't think it would be that hard to put the lights in the window, but I need to do that before I glue the thing together. And then I'm gonna have to figure out, I'm thinking about putting a I'm pointing at this little one down there, thinking about making it to where the pipe goes basically in the back of the ship, like there's supposed to be an exhaust vent thing there anyways. But and I might need to 3D model that in later, but I'm going to want to run the pipes and the wires and all in the back, make the stand hold it from the back instead of from the bottom, so you don't have to, if I get the decals made and printed and I'm applying it to the model, I don't want to have a hole right in the middle of the bottom of the ship in the bird with the pipe going up through it. I want to definitely do it from behind, where on your Klingon ship and more or less and on your Constitution class, you definitely, they're more up here in this, they kind of have a center of balance that they put them in, and they used to do that more or less with this too. You kind of put it in the center of balance, but I just think about making a stouter stand and running it in from the back, and I think it frees up your detail more on your model. Well, let me know what you think, and thank you for watching. I'm going to be doing more of this content because the next model I'm going to be moving into once I get this perfected is going to be this D7, or I already started drawing some of it, but I think I have to refine stuff. I've learned things about 3D modeling. I would say I'm a fairly avid 3D modeler. I'm not a super pro, but I'm not an amateur by no means. But 3D modeling these things, or 3D modeling these things for graphics is different than 3D modeling these for models. It's a total different process. You have to design the pieces different. If you're making these for games, it used to be and still is to a point that you want to make them low poly as possible with the details, or you use tricks like you make a low poly model and a high poly model, and you it's almost like in a play, it's almost like you take the low poly model and you paint it with the high poly model to make it look high poly, but yet it's not. But that's how you can get detail in them and stuff like that. But with Unreal Engine 5 doing some of the stuff they're doing, it's going to get to where you can put really high poly models into the game engines, which is another thing that I'm kind of studying as a hobby, is UE5. I want to learn. I want to make my own games, or a couple of my own games. So I'm definitely, or maybe even animations. I've thought about making. I could make a Star Trek an animated Star Trek on UE5, and animate it, and what I'm trying to say, render it so that I could actually put it on YouTube as like an animated series or an animated movies or whatnot with my ship models. And I've actually thought about you could in UE5 you could actually model one of these ships. You could model the whole interiors with decks and stuff to use them as so you could have your characters actually walking around inside of these and have the buttons and the bells and the whistles and the screens and the, you could literally in a sense film your animated movie in the interiors of these ships and make your stories and whatnot. So that I'm quite a ways down the road from that, but it's definitely something I'm interested in. But for right now, I'm really excited that I'm got my first 1/200 scale model of this Romulan Warbird, and then the next one, like I said, I've already started working on some of this. I got some of these pieces made, but I got to review and make sure that they are going to come out to print right, or I might have to redo them. And then number 3, which I haven't started, is the Constitution class. Let me jump in here right quick. Okay, let's go to desktop. So I will show you one of the ships. I'll just show you a couple screenshots of this. So this is actually a picture that I got offline, and this is more or less, this is what the Saladin class looked like. This was a destroyer. This is from Franz Joseph's blueprints and technical manual. And I'm not sure if this is a model, or I don't know if this is a 3D model. Let's see, it says meshes and images. So I'm thinking this is a 3D model from 2009, and it looks pretty decent. And this is what came out of people were kit bashing these. They were getting the model of the Enterprise, and they'd take the saucer in the neck, and they'd have to putty and cut and do stuff to make the engines go on. The engine go on here and rotate things. And then this piece was usually something that they had to make extra to go on here. And I've seen this like this one's going halfway into this bottom with that's supposed to be a sensor dome. This is kind of cool because this one they actually put the phaser, I call them the phaser balls that were on more or less than when the motion picture came out. And then after that they made your phasers at that point. They were like little balls. Where on the original series, it's like they showed the phasers coming out of here and the photon torpedoes and stuff, but you never had any holes or any discernible places where this is one I'm modeling, and this is what I'm talking about. If you actually look at the edge of this, you can see the flat lines because it's not super high poly. And this is something I was kind of messing around with. I called it the USS Cheyenne after my home city, but this is definitely it's a low poly model, and it's actually got a lot of verts and stuff. I don't know, where's my vert count? I don't see it on here. We won't dwell on that. Here's a back picture of it. And what I was trying to do with this is I was adding a shuttle bay. And I got the two engines. And then this is a version kind of like the Miranda class, except for what I did was I put like a pod down here with your sensor, so you don't have it coming off of that. Which is actually, this is more kind of like a light cruiser design and less of a destroyer design. And again, I put this on. I kind of got this idea, though I seen this. Somebody actually kit bashed. Again, it was like a Saladin. It had the neck and the one engine. But they took the back end of the secondary hull from the Enterprise kit, and they actually ran it into that teardrop. Your kind of like your bridge module, like it kind of came down and then it went back. And I thought it was a clever idea for kind of like a TOS original series version. I thought it was an interesting idea because that way it at least gives you a shuttle bay. Except for I think the shuttle bay's bigger. I just kind of made one up on here. I didn't really scale it with like the kit bashing like the original model or anything. And again, here's, you know, and this doesn't look too bad, but I couldn't print this out as a model. And I really like the more vertices you can use, the smoother you can make things. But I actually was kind of, I got this saucer. I actually was modeling the Constitution first. And I have that somewhere. I don't know where it's at the moment. But the engines and the saucer and the neck I more or less took from that, and I just kind of got rid of the secondary hull. And like this, where it's blowed up real big, again, it's like it doesn't look too bad. But I got it all, I also have it outlined color with yellow outlines. So again, the more surfaces you can put around these engines, the more surfaces you can put around this saucer, the higher poly you could make it. Oh, so here I got the Cheyenne, what I'm calling it, and then this is a model. This was kind of an idea for like a Klingon bird of prey from the original series era. So I was kind of mixing it, making it a small D7 and mixing it with the bird of prey, and I wasn't sure if I was going to make the wings basically where they would fold up or not. And I've seen, like I said, I don't want to go into all of these pictures with all of these other models and stuff like that. I could sit here and talk about them for hours. You guys don't want to hear that kind of stuff, but there's definitely. Okay, so this is an actual model. I can tell this is an actual model, and this is kind of interesting because this is kit bashed, and you can see that he flipped the secondary hull upside down for the Constitution class, but he rotated the hangar bay in the back so that it's upright, and then he used the neck and he added some details and whatnot, and he has the saucer, and then he used one engine and he used another neck and he made it shorter. But you know, some of the stuff, and then he put four. This is kind of neat that he put four of them grill vent cooler things on the engine on that and stuff like that. And here's one. Okay, so here's one I was talking about. Except for I actually seen it as a model, but this is one where he has the hangar deck thing, and he just ran it into the teardrop, or he drew it as a whole new, in a sense, like a whole new teardrop. And it also looks like what he did was on the Miranda they add like the Reliant in the motion picture, or the Wrath of Khan, the Reliant, they actually added in like kind of like a box section on the saucer, and they also they put upper decks in it, and this looks like they put some on the bottom. but you can't see it. He'd have to show it from behind and stuff, but it's kind of an interesting idea. Is you could add that, and I didn't realize this, but on the Reliant, the saucer on the Reliant is actually has a larger diameter than the Enterprise refit, or the Enterprise refit, the Dash A. The Reliant class actually has more interior volume than the Constitution class, even though the Constitution class is considered a heavy cruiser and the Reliant is considered a light cruiser. It actually is a larger ship. You could argue it has more internal volume because of the way they increase the diameter of the saucer, and they put the extra box section on it. And then of course they had the what you call like the spoiler bar on it and stuff like that. And anyways, I'm on 26 minutes now, so I'm going to call this a wrap. And please keep watching, and I'll show you when I start putting the model together.